Imagine you are in any city in the world, from Hanoi to New York, from Tokyo to Amsterdam. You just brushed your teeth, washed your hands, or flushed the toilet, and the water disappears down the pipe. But that's not the end. It's the beginning of a fascinating journey, a journey few people know about, but one that is extremely vital for the survival of this planet. Did you know that each of us produces about 100 to 200 liters of wastewater every day? And surprisingly, 97 to 99% of that is still clean water, just mixed with a bit of grease, detergent, or bacteria. The problem isn't about flushing the water, it's how to make every drop come back to serve life again: irrigation, industry, even domestic use. This video will take you deep into the rebirth journey of wastewater, a technical process applied in tens of thousands of plants around the world. From basic steps like trash screening to high-tech ones like biological treatment, ultraviolet disinfection, and A-grade water reuse. We'll explore how humans, technology, and nature work together to not only keep this planet alive, but help it grow sustainably. Imagine you're looking down at the stream of wastewater just leaving the house. It looks like a murky gray mixture full of stuff: food scraps, kitchen grease, disintegrated toilet paper, fallen hair, plastic packaging, and even things accidentally flushed away. Not only that, there's sand and gravel from the sewer bottom, trash washed in by rain, and all kinds of organic compounds and microorganisms. This is why all wastewater treatment plants, whether in Singapore, the Netherlands, the US, or Vietnam, start with a nearly identical step: pre-treatment. This stage doesn't clean the water, but prepares it. It's like having to remove seeds and rinse ingredients before putting them in a blender. The pre-treatment process usually includes three main steps. Bar screen, the first place the water passes through. Metal bars catch large objects like rags, tissues, packaging, even toothbrushes. At large plants in Europe, over 300 to 500 kilograms of trash can be collected from this step each day. Grit chamber. After the trash is removed, the water moves into the grit chamber. Solid particles like sand, stones, glass fragments settle to the bottom. If not removed, these tiny particles can wear down pumps, pipes, and mixers in later stages. Grease trap. This is where one of the silent culprits of pipe clogging, grease, is dealt with. Being lighter than water, grease floats to the surface and is skimmed off. If not removed early, it can clump up in biological tanks and kill the processing microorganisms. Though these are coarse steps, they play a critical role. Without pre-treatment, the entire downstream system could break down, maintenance costs would skyrocket, and treatment efficiency would drop sharply. After being filtered of trash in the pre-treatment step, the wastewater, though it may look cleaner, still contains a large amount of dissolved organic matter. These substances, though small and invisible to the naked eye, can deplete oxygen if discharged into rivers and lakes, killing fish and seriously damaging ecosystems. And this is when the silent heroes of water treatment step in: aerobic microorganisms. At most treatment plants around the world, biological treatment is done using a technology called activated sludge. The core of this method is cultivating and maintaining a large population of beneficial bacteria in water tanks, supplying enough oxygen so they multiply, and letting them naturally break down the organic substances in the water. Imagine the aeration tanks as a giant stomach full of oxygen. Inside, billions of microorganisms work non-stop, eating pollutants and releasing cleaner water along with a small amount of biological sludge. As a result, pollution indicators like BOD, biological oxygen demand, can drop from 300 to 400 milligrams per liter to under 30 milligrams per liter, meaning more than a 90% reduction in organic matter. These biological technologies are not only effective, but also environmentally friendly. In Japan, where space is very limited, people use the MBR system, membrane bioreactor, to save space while maintaining high efficiency. In Singapore, the Changi plant uses a similar method, removing up to 99% of bacteria and viruses, making water reusable for industry, or even blending into drinking water. Depending on the scale and treatment goals, each location chooses differently. But the common point is, microorganisms do most of the work, and our job is to create the optimal environment for them to live and work. And you know what's interesting? Many of these microorganisms come from our own bodies, especially the gut. When they exit with the wastewater, they get selected, cultivated, and become part of a professional treatment system. That's how a simple everyday act, like flushing the toilet, can start a chain of smart and sustainable biological reactions, being applied at thousands of treatment plants worldwide. After going through biological treatment, the wastewater has had most of its dissolved organic matter removed. However, some unwanted objects remain: small suspended solids, heavy metals, and inorganic compounds like phosphorus, nitrogen, or pesticide residues from agriculture. This is when treatment plants around the world move to the finishing stage: chemical physical treatment, also known as advanced treatment. This process usually starts with coagulation, flocculation. Here, operators add a precise amount of chemicals like aluminum sulfate or ferric chloride into the water. These chemicals neutralize the surface charges of tiny particles suspended in the water, causing them to stick together into larger clumps called flocks. Next is the sedimentation tank, where these heavier flocks slowly settle to the bottom. After several hours, the sludge layer is sucked out for sludge treatment. The water above is now much cleaner, but it doesn't stop there. The water continues to pass through multi-layer filtration systems, including quartz sand, gravel, activated carbon, or sometimes microfiltration membranes. These layers trap remaining tiny particles and help remove color and odor if present. The result after this stage: most physical and chemical indicators such as TSS, total suspended solids, drop below 10 to 20 milligrams per liter. Total phosphorus drops below 1 milligram per liter, and many trace pollutants are tightly controlled. It can be said, if biological treatment is the construction site, then chemical physical treatment is the refining room, where every drop of water is perfected to the last detail, getting ready for the crucial stage: disinfection. At this point, the water has gone through many layers: trash removal, biological decomposition, and chemical filtration. Visually, the water looks very clean, clear, odorless, colorless. But don't think it's safe just yet, because the most dangerous thing in water isn't what we can see, it's what we can't see. Among millions of water droplets, there could still be disease-causing bacteria, viruses, parasite eggs, or leftover biological residues not fully removed. If discharged directly into the environment or reused without this final step, the consequences could be severe, especially in densely populated areas or near clean water sources. That's why the final and mandatory step in every modern wastewater treatment system worldwide is disinfection. There are three main methods, each with its own advantages, chosen based on cost, scale, and the intended use of the treated water. Ultraviolet, UV. One of the most common methods in developed countries like Japan, the Netherlands, Germany. Water flows through a chamber with UV lamps, where specific light wavelengths break the DNA and RNA of bacteria, preventing them from reproducing. Its advantage: no chemical residue and no impact on water taste. However, UV only works well if the incoming water is very clear. Chlorination, a common method in developing countries due to low cost and easy implementation. Chlorine or chlorine-based compounds are added to the water under strict control. Chlorine kills bacteria quickly, but if not well treated, can leave free chlorine residue, affecting health and aquatic life. Ozonation uses ozone gas O3, a very strong oxidizer, to kill bacteria and remove odors. It's more effective than both chlorine and UV, but the system is complex and energy intensive. It's used at premium treatment plants in Singapore, Switzerland, or in food industries requiring ultra-clean water. No matter which technology is used, the goal is the same. Bring water to a microbiologically safe state, ready for discharge into nature or reuse. In some countries, post-disinfection water is not just discharged into rivers and lakes, but directly reused for watering public plants, street cleaning, or cooling industrial HVAC systems. In more advanced places like Singapore, the water is further treated to become drinking water via reverse osmosis and additional disinfection. So, disinfection, although the last step, is the final safety checkpoint in the whole treatment chain. Like the final quality inspection in a factory, it ensures the product, in this case, water, meets absolute safety standards before returning to serve people. Next time when you turn on the tap, flush the toilet, or wash your hair under the shower, remember the water you let go doesn't just disappear. It starts a quiet yet grand journey through trash and grime, biological breakdown, chemical purification, and high-tech sterilization, to be reborn, to become water for rice fields, to cool power plants, or even to return to your very own tap in a sustainable cycle. And if each of us changes our awareness, actions, and beliefs, then not just a drop of water is saved, but the future is nurtured too. Thank you for joining the journey of a single drop. A drop seemingly small, but when reborn, it carries a big message.